honestly, with these topic videos, I'm just preaching to myself.
Give me your ways. You don't know what to do with it. Give me your way. Give me your.
Hello girlies, what's up? By the title of this video, I'm sure you already know what time it is. It's time for another Patreon topic video. If you are not aware, if you go to my Patreon at patreon.com/AdrianExpression, sign up for the highest tier, you get the chance to vote on the topics that I will be covering every other Monday. And this time, what we're gonna talk about is what to do when you feel completely uninspired. And hopefully the title of this video is not too unclear or too vague as to what I'm referring to, but when I'm talking about feeling uninspired, I'm talking about artists, I'm talking about writers, I'm talking about, businessmen, whatever it is. And I'm also using this video as a platform to get you guys to tell me what you do when you feel uninspired, because I definitely need some help with that. Whether you're a painter, whether you create comic books, whatever it is that you do, here are some of the things that I've noticed work for me. So now, like I said, I definitely need some help. So if you have some things, make sure you tell me, because I'm gonna need to just utilize as many different methods as I can, because I'm such a fucking creative. So here we go. When you feel like you're in a rut, when you have a blank canvas in front of you and nothing is coming to you, when you feel like you have a blank page in front of you and nothing is coming to you to write or whatever it is, the first thing that I suggest to do, because it kind of worked for me, is to just expose yourself to people, works of art, environments, or whatever that get your creative juices flowing. This is especially if you are someone who has a very, predictable routine or very stable routine. If you find that it's becoming increasingly difficult for you to create the stuff that you used to create, go out and build new experiences, dive into new environments. And I know sometimes the immediate internal pushback to that, the most common one is, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to be going over here making friends or going to new events. And it's just like, no girl, you need to actually go out and live. I forget who said it, but it's just like, how can you be a writer if you don't have any experiences or deep emotional experiences or experiences in general to base your writing off of? If you just sit in a sterile box, your writing is not going to have as much soul as it would if you were out there experiencing things. Now, I just use writing as an example, but I think that can go for anything. How can you be a fashion designer if you don't immerse yourself into many different worlds of fashion or runways, or even just people who are just as passionate about fashion as you are? And like I said, I don't know shit about fashion, but I'm just using that as an example. The second thing I think is going to be very tricky, especially if this creative outlet is your job. The second thing is you can't force yourself. Like, you can't, if something's not coming, do not force yourself. And like I said, it's different if you're a writer and your job is saying deadline is on Friday, or if you're a graphic designer and your deadline's on Friday. And that's different. Like, girl, you gonna have to, I don't know, girl, that's your check, sis. You got to force yourself. But it's just like, when it's something for you, or when you have a lot of space and agency or creative control, or you're putting out a project or something like that, I found that you don't need to be forcing yourself to do that shit. I mean, from writing to making videos to everything, like, I found that when I just feel that inspiration, the video or the writing or the art or the song, whatever it is, comes out 100 times better than me just sitting here, oh, well, I gotta finish it, I gotta do it, everybody's waiting, I'm so mad at myself for being so slow in this process. Like that, you already have a lot of darkness going on in the back of your head, so it's gonna come out in your art, girl. You cannot, like I said, if you got a job and they just like, bitch, deadline's on Friday, deadline's on Tuesday, that's different. But when you're talking about like expressing yourself, when you're finally in a space to dictate your own rules when it comes to your art, do not force yourself. Set your deadline. I think you should set a schedule, set some deadlines for yourself if you find that you're just too much of a procrastinator. But even then, sometimes the inspiration don't hit. And what's interesting is when you force yourself to do that shit, you come out with a finished product and you will think that shit is ugly and trash. It's like, artists are already hard on themselves. Creative people are already filled with self-doubt all the time. So can you imagine you over here just putting some shit together because you feel like you forcing yourself to do some shit? You will look at that shit, not want to put it out, and you end up doing it over again. Like, don't force yourself. And also, I think the third one coincides with the second one. It's just like, take a break. Take a break. If you find that you're hitting a wall, take a break and go look at something, go watch something, go eat something. Don't sit there, because honestly, at least from my experience, like, if we're sitting there, we're frustrated, number one, mad as hell at ourselves that we call ourselves this artist or writer or painter or whatever, fashion designer or whatever it is, and you can't sit out here and complete this simple project. So now you beating yourself up, sitting in front of a blank canvas, just being mean to yourself. Girl, no ma'am. You are who you are, girl. You are the creative. You are the artist. Like, nothing will ever take that away from you just because you had a couple bad days or shit, a bad month or whatever it is. That your essence will not be taken from you. I mean, it's not like Ursula's around here stealing voices. You know what I mean? Don't beat yourself up. Take a break. Relax. Find something that coincides back into one as well. Find something that gives you motivation, inspiration, and then come back to it and sit and literally. It will feel like a whole different world when you sit back down. I promise you, because there are times where I did not want to get my ass up because I was like forcing myself to do some shit. I'm just like, no, take a break and come back, and there'd be so many different avenues that I did not think of before I took the break and just breathe. So that's another method. Number 4 is to ask for some more eyes on your work. I think that you have to be very careful about this though, because like I said, a lot of creative people, a lot of artists were filled to the brim with self-doubt, okay? Like, filled to the brim with imposter syndrome. Like, girl, so asking for more eyes can be a very tricky situation. Like asking for an opinion or input from other people can be a very tricky situation. You have to know what to filter, what to take in, and what to leave alone. Sometimes you may not know. Sometimes you make the mistake and be like, well, girl, I'm not taking that advice, or I am taking advice from someone when I shouldn't have. But as you do it more, as you get to know the people who you can actually trust, and as you get to trust yourself, I feel like this will be easier to do. But I think this can only be done with people who really understand your vision, and even then with people understanding your vision, they may not like really fully get what you're trying to do. But this can only be done with people who understand your vision, people who trust you, people who aren't like weird and shady and like weirdly jealous. And because, you know, that jealousy thing is very interesting because, like I said, a lot of creative people they have a lot of self-doubt. So it's like, you can't even understand why someone would be jealous of your shit. It's just like, girl, I got so much work to do, but meanwhile, you know what I mean? So it's like you have to find the right people to ask. But I think asking is very important. I think letting other people read your work before you publish it is important, just to have an idea of how at least people who align with your same thoughts and vision will receive it, right? And sometimes people may just not get it, and that's not your fault, but it's just like sometimes it can guide you in a different direction, or a direction you never thought of, if you ask someone you trust, or someone who's knowledgeable, smart, or just aware, open and aware, someone who's cool. Ask them about it. It may open your eyes to a whole new world that you never thought of. But like I said, you got to be careful with who you ask. And the last one I think is very important, and something that I struggle to do all the time. I think we have to put your fear into perspective, because I've said it a couple times in this video already, but I think that a lot of creative people, we struggle with self-doubt, we struggle with imposter syndrome, we struggle with oh well, you know, I don't know who's going to take my art seriously, or are they going to get it, or am I good enough? We ask ourselves those questions all the time, and we have to put our fear into perspective. Just the simple fact that a lot of people who are watching this, I'm sure, can relate to what I just said. We have to understand that, okay, if I'm asking myself these questions and I'm, you know, doubting myself, I know that there are other people who are doing the same thing. And some of these people are people that we may even admire, people whose art we just, or work or writing, efforts, leadership skills, whatever it is. We admire people with these traits and characteristics or abilities, and those same people are doubting themselves too. Like, they have bad days where they're just like, girl, I don't know what I'm doing, or I feel like I don't know what I'm doing, even though they may completely. So you just have to understand that you're not the only one, you're not the only human who's going through this. Don't let that fear make you stop or make you give up forever. We're all human. There are times where, like I said, we have to take a break, we have to get up, we have to stop thinking about it for a second because we'll stress ourselves out. But don't let the fear make you abandon something that you love to do. If you weren't afraid, you wouldn't be doing shit. You'd just be stagnant. You wouldn't be making an impact on anything. You wouldn't be taking risks that would pay off. You'd just be sitting there doing the same old, same old. So if you weren't afraid, if you weren't nervous about your growth, then that means your ass ain't growing, you know? So yeah, those are my 5 things. I ended up speaking a lot more than I thought I would. So please tell me if you can relate to this at all. Tell me some of the things that you do when you find, like, whether it's a writer's block, or I don't know, do they have something for artist block, like painter's block? I don't know. Or maybe they're leaders of organizations who watch this shit, or bosses, managers, whatever it is, whatever you do. Put down in the comments some ways that you use to feel that same spark, that inspiration. Because sometimes no matter how artistic you are, there's always another side of that shit, like inventory, taxes, for those who have employees, paying your employees, for my social media artists, taking orders online, fulfilling orders. There's always another side to that just makes you like, damn, I wish I could just do this, focus on the art part. So yeah, just let us all know, because we're definitely gonna need it. Let us all know what you guys do to feel re-inspired, I guess. Thank you all so much for watching. Love you so much. And make sure that you sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/AdrianExpression, and make sure you have a good goddamn evening.